أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته وأن الله تواب حكيم. إن الذين جاءوا بالإفك عصبة منكم لا تحسبوه شرا لكم بل هو خير لكم لكل امرئ منهم ما اكتسب من الإثم والذي تولى كبره منهم له عذاب عظيم. لولا إذ سمعتموه ظن المؤمنون والمؤمنات بأنفسهم خيرا وقالوا هذا إفك مبين. لولا جاءوا عليه بأربعة شهداء فإذ لم يأتوا بالشهداء فأولئك عند الله هم الكاذبون. ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته في الدنيا والآخرة لمسكم فيما أفضتم فيه عذاب عظيم. إذ تلقونه بألسنتكم وتقولون بأفواهكم ما ليس لكم به علم وتحسبونه هينا وهو عند الله عظيم. ولولا إذ سمعتموه قلتم ما يكون لنا أن نتكلم بهذا سبحانك هذا بهتان عظيم. يعظكم الله أن تعودوا لمثله أبدا إن كنتم مؤمنين ويبين الله لكم الآيات والله عليم حكيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
The Shaykh Hafidhullah, he started off by giving praise to Allah and sending salat and salam and barakah upon the Prophet, his companions and his family.
أما بعد فنحمد الله الذي لا إله إلا هو.
He said after that we praise Allah, the one that there's no deity worthy of worship other than Him.
على ما من به علينا من النعم الكثيرة الظاهرة والباطنة.
On that which He has blessed us with from the apparent blessings and those which are hidden.
ونحن ما زلنا في هذه الدورة العلمية السنوية.
And we are still in this annual educational seminar.
التي نستقبل فيها إخوة لنا من أمريكا.
The one that wherein we receive brothers from us from America.
في بلدهم في زيارتهم لنا في الكويت.
In their country, their visit to the country of Kuwait.
في الدورة العلمية التي يقيمها معهد الفرقان.
In this educational seminar that is established by Maḥhad-ul-Furqān.
بإشراف الأخ محمد بن نزيه أبو عبد الله.
Under the supervision of the brother Muhammad ibn Nazih Abu Abdullah.
جزاه الله خيرا.
May Allah reward him with good.
ونحن في يوم الخميس.
And we're in Thursday.
29 من ربيع الثاني.
The 29th من ربيع الثاني.
لعام 33 و400 وألف.
In the year 1433.
الموافق 22 من الشهر الثالث.
That is in correspondence to the 22nd of March.
لعام 12 و2000.
In the year 2012.
محدثكم أخوكم سالم بن سعد الطويل.
The one talking to you, your brother Salim ibn Saʿd at-Taweel.
وما زلنا في درس التفسير.
And we're still in the lesson of Tafsīr.
تفسير سورة النور.
The Tafsīr of Sūrat-un-Nūr.
وقد ذكرنا بالأمس.
And we mentioned yesterday.
أن الزوج إذا قذف زوجته بالزنا أي اتهمها بالزنا.
That the husband, if he accuses his wife with zina.
فالزوج خاصة شهادته عن أربعة شهادات.
Then the husband specifically and singly, his testimony is that he testified 4 testimonies.
فيقول أشهد بالله العظيم أشهد بالله العظيم أشهد بالله العظيم أشهد بالله العظيم 4 مرات.
So he says, I bear witness by Allah al-Azim, and he says this 4 times.
إنها زانية يقصد زوجته.
That she is a zaniya, and he's intending by this his wife.
ويقول في الخامسة أن لعنة الله عليه يدعو نفسه باللعنة إن كان كاذبا.
And he says about himself in the fifth one that the curse of Allah be upon him if he was from those who are lying.
وحينئذ تعاقب بالرجم حتى تموت.
And at this point in time, she is punished with being stoned until she dies.
إلا إذا أكذبته قالت هو كذاب.
Unless she belies him or calls him a liar and says he's a liar.
فحينئذ يطلب منها يطلب منها القاضي.
So at this point in time, it's requested or the judge requests from her
أن تشهد 4 شهادات بالله.
that she testify 4 testimonies by Allah.
تقول أشهد بالله العظيم أشهد بالله العظيم أشهد بالله العظيم أشهد بالله العظيم.
And so she says, I testify by Allah al-Azim, and she says this 4 times.
إنه من الكاذبين أي زوجها إنه من الكاذبين.
That he is from the liars, i.e. her husband, that he is from the liars.
وتقول في الخامسة
And she says in the 5th,
تدعو نفسها بغضب الله.
she makes dua against herself for the anger of Allah.
أن غضب الله عليها إن كان زوجها من الصادقين.
That the anger of Allah be upon her if her husband was from those who were telling the truth.
يعني صادقا بما اتهمها به من الزنا.
I telling the truth in that which he accused her about of zina.
ماذا تسمى هذه؟
What is this called?
الملاعنة.
الملاعنة.
تسمى الملاعنة.
It's called ملاعنة.
ثم القاضي يفرق بينهما إلى الأبد ما يلتقيان يعني ما يعودان زوجان أبدا.
And so at this point in time the judge separates between the two of them forever, so they're not to meet or they're not to be together again as husband and wife.
وإن زعم الزوج بأن ما في بطن زوجته إن كانت حاملا ليس ابنا لها ليس ابنا له.
And if the husband claims that that which is in the woman's stomach, if she was to be pregnant, is not a child of his,
فحينئذ لا ينسب هذا الابن إلى الزوج.
Then at this point in time, this child is not affiliated or attributed to the husband.
عرفتم هذا الحكم؟
Did you all know this ruling?
ماذا يسمى؟
What's it called?
الملاعنة. يقول الله عز وجل ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته أي أن الله تفضل عليكم ورحمكم برحمته الواسعة.
And so Allah says, the translation of which, and it had not been for the grace of Allah, meaning that Allah had, and then His mercy, meaning that Allah had grace upon you and He had given you mercy,
لما شرع لكم هذه الأحكام.
He wouldn't have legislated for you these rulings.
وأن الله تواب أي كثير التوبة.
And that Allah is Tawwab, i.e. He is often repentant.
من هو التواب؟
Who is the one who is Tawwab?
هل الله عز وجل هو التواب ولا الإنسان هو التواب؟
Is Allah the one that is Tawwab, or is the human being the one that is Tawwab?
هو الله عز وجل تواب والإنسان تواب.
So Allah is Tawwab, and likewise the human being is Tawwab.
تواب هذه الصيغة تواب معناها أنه كثير التوبة.
This form or this phrasing of the word Tawwab means the one who has often in Tawbah.
الله عز وجل تواب بمعنى أنه يقبل التوبة كثيرا.
So Allah is Tawwab with the understanding that He is the one who accepts Tawbah often.
والإنسان إذا كان يتوب إلى الله كثيرا يقال عنه تواب.
And the person, if he was often repenting to Allah or making Tawbah to Allah, it's said about him that he is Tawwab.
الله عز وجل تواب والمخلوق تواب.
So Allah is Tawwab, and likewise the creation is Tawwab.
لكن المعنى مختلف.
But the meaning is different.
الله تواب لأنه يقبل التوبة كثيرا.
So Allah is Tawwab because He accepts this Tawbah often.
والإنسان الذي يتوب إلى الله كثيرا يقال عنه تواب.
And likewise the person who repents or makes Tawbah to Allah often, he is said to be Tawwab.
سمى الله نفسه ووصف نفسه بأنه تواب كما في هذه الآية إن الله تواب.
So Allah has called Himself and described Himself with the word Tawwab, like is in here in this ayah when He says verily He is Tawwab.
ووصف المخلوق بأنه تواب في قوله تعالى.
And He described the creation as them being Tawwab in His statement Ta'ala.
إن الله يحب التوابين.
The translation of which is verily Allah loves the Tawwabin.
السؤال من جديد.
So I ask the question again anew.
من هو التواب؟
Who is Tawwab?
الله عز وجل أو الإنسان؟
Is it Allah or the human being?
الله عز وجل تواب والإنسان تواب.
Allah Azza wa Jalla is Tawwab, and likewise the human being is Tawwab.
لكن المعنى مختلف.
But the meaning is different.
فالله عز وجل تواب أي أنه يقبل التوبة كثيرا من عباده.
So Allah Azza wa Jalla is Tawwab, meaning He accepts this Tawbah from His servants often.
وأما الإنسان يقال عنه تواب.
And as far as the human, it is said about him Tawwab,
إذا كان كثير التوبة إلى الله عز وجل.
if he was oft in giving Tawbah or making Tawbah towards Allah Azza wa Jalla.
فقال الله عز وجل نفسه هنا إن الله تواب.
So Allah says about Himself here that verily Allah is Tawwab.
أي يقبل كثيرا من عباده التوبة.
i.e. that he accepts from his servants often this tawbah.
فهو يتوب بالليل والنهار.
So he accepts this tawbah in the day and in the night and in the day.
والتوبة بابها مفتوح.
In tawbah, its door is open
إلى أن تطلع الشمس من مغربها آخر الزمان.
until the sun rises from the west in the last days.
وكل إنسان في حقه باب التوبة مفتوح.
And every individual in his own regards, the door of tawbah is open.
ما لم تغرغر روحه يعني تصل إلى درجة الغرغرة قبيل الوفاة هذا لا تقبل توبته.
As long as the soul doesn't start to boil in his throat or go about his throat, meaning close to the time of his death when his soul is about to come out.
وقال الله عز وجل سمى نفسه وصف نفسه فقال حكيم أي ذو حكمة.
And Allah says about himself, he's named himself Hakim, i.e. the one who is known as having wisdom.
والحكمة هي وضع الشيء في مكانه المناسب.
And wisdom is to put something in its suitable or proper place.
فالله عز وجل حكيم.
So Allah is Hakim
لأنه يضع كل شيء في مكانه المناسب.
because he puts everything in the place that it belongs.
والله عز وجل حكيم بمعنى أنه يحكم.
And Allah is Hakim also with the meaning that he judges.
إذا ما معنى حكيم؟
So therefore, what is the meaning of Hakim?
لها معنيان.
It has two meanings.
أن الله عز وجل حكيم أنه يضع الأشياء يعني ذو حكمة يضع الأشياء في أماكنها المناسبة.
It means that Allah is Hakim, that he has hikmah, he puts things in their suitable places.
وحكيم بمعنى أنه ذو حكم أنه يحكم.
And Hakim with the meaning that he is the one that judges, meaning he's the one that judges.
وأين حكمة الله عز وجل تكون وأين حكم الله عز وجل يكون؟
And where is the wisdom of Allah to be found, and where is the ruling or the judgment of Allah to be found?
هل حكمة الله عز وجل تكون في مخلوقاته ولا في تشريعاته؟
Is the wisdom of Allah to be found in those things that he created or in the things that he legislated?
في تشريعاته يقول في تشريعاته. طيب هل في خلقه الله ليس له حكمة؟
He said, okay, then in the creation of Allah, is there no wisdom in that?
له حكمة في خلقه أيضا.
He says he has wisdom in the things that he created also.
إذن السؤال من جديد.
So then I ask the question anew.
أين حكمة الله تكون؟ في مخلوقاته التي خلقها ولا في تشريعاته التي شرعها؟
So where is the wisdom of Allah to be found? In the things that he created, or is it to be found in the things that he legislated?
في تشريعاته. طيب في مخلوقاته الله ليس له حكمة؟
He says, okay, then in the things that Allah created, is there no wisdom in them?
ما معنى في مخلوقاته؟
يعني what is the meaning in the things that he created?
يعني خلق الإنسان بلا حكمة.
يعني did Allah create the human being without wisdom?
خلق السماوات بلا حكمة.
Did he create the skies without a wisdom?
خلق الشمس بلا حكمة.
He created the sun without a wisdom?
خلق القمر بلا حكمة.
He created the moon without a wisdom?
هل الله يخلق المخلوقات بلا حكمة ولا بحكمة؟
Did Allah create the things that are created without any wisdom, or did he do it with wisdom?
بحكمة. إذا أين حكمة الله؟ هل تكون في مخلوقاته أو في تشريعاته؟
So therefore, where is the wisdom of Allah? Is it in the things that he created or in the things that he legislated?
نعم. الله عز وجل حكيم ذو حكمة يضع الأشياء في أماكنها المناسبة.
He says Allah Azza wa Jalla is Hakim, the one that has wisdom. He puts things in their proper place.
في مخلوقاته
And the things that he created,
وفي تشريعاته.
as well as in the things that he's legislated.
ما معنى في تشريعاته؟
What does it mean, the things that he's legislated?
يعني فرض الصلاة.
Like he made salat obligatory.
فرض الزكاة.
Likewise zakat.
فرض الصيام.
Likewise siyam.
حرم القتل بغير حق.
He made it prohibited murder without just cause.
حرم الخمر والزنا.
He made khamr and zina also prohibited.
كل ما شرعه الله لعباده
Everything that Allah legislated for his servants,
فهو قائم على الحكمة.
then this is built or based upon wisdom.
وكل مخلوق خلقه الله
And everything that Allah created,
فقد خلقه لحكمة.
then he's created it for wisdom.
يعني ما في مخلوق خلقه الله لغير حكمة.
And there's nothing that Allah created that has no wisdom behind it,
لعبا عبثا.
as a game or as a waste of time.
وما في تشريع شرعه الله لعباده
Nor is there anything that Allah has legislated for his servants
من غير حكمة.
without any wisdom in it,
لعب أو عبث أو ظلم.
as a form of game or waste of time or oppression.
كيف عرفنا؟
How do we know this?
بأن الله عز وجل
that Allah Azza wa Jal
خلق جميع المخلوقات بحكمة
that has created all of the creation with the wisdom,
وشرع كل التشريعات بحكمة.
and He has legislated all of the legislations with wisdom.
ما الدليل على ذلك؟
What's the evidence on this?
الدليل على ذلك
And the evidence on this
أن الله سمى نفسه الحكيم.
is that Allah has named Himself Al-Hakim.
بما أنه هو الحكيم
And so since He is the Hakim,
وهو ذو حكمة
and He is the one that has hikmah,
إذا حكمته في كل شيء،
so then therefore His hikmah is in everything,
في مخلوقاته
in the things He created,
وفي تشريعاته.
and likewise the things He legislated.
المعنى الثاني للحكيم
The second meaning of Hakim
أنه يحكم.
is that He judges.
بماذا يحكم الله عز وجل؟
And what does Allah judge with Azza wa Jal?
هل يحكم في مخلوقاته
Does He judge in His creation,
أو يحكم في تشريعاته؟
or does He judge in His legislation?
الله يحكم
Allah judges,
يعني ذو حكم.
and He's the one that has a judgment.
فأين يحكم الله عز وجل؟
So where is His judgment at?
يحكم في مخلوقاته التي خلقها
Does He judge in the creation that He has created it?
أو يحكم في تشريعاته التي شرعها؟
Or does He judge in the legislations that He's legislated it?
نوح. كلاهما نعم. الله عز وجل هو الحكيم،
Allah Azza wa Jal is Al-Hakim,
إذا ذو حكمة،
meaning that He has hikmah.
حكمته في مخلوقاته وفي تشريعاته.
He has hikmah or wisdom in the things that He's created as well as in the things that He's legislated.
والله عز وجل حكيم ذو حكم،
And Allah Azza wa Jal is Hakim with the meaning of having hukum.
يحكم في خلقه ويحكم في تشريعاته.
He judges in amongst the things that He's created as well as in the things that He legislated.
كل هذا استفدناه من اسم الله الحكيم.
All of this we benefited it from the name of Allah Al-Hakim.
أخوكم اسمه عبد الحكيم.
Your brother, his name is Abdul Hakim.
قال الله عز وجل إن الذين جاءوا بالإفك. الإفك الكذب الكبير وقال عنه إفك.
Allah Azza wa Jal says the translation of that, verily those who've come from you with the if, and the word if here is a major lie or a great lie.
الكذب هو الإخبار خلاف الحقيقة.
And the word lie in Arabic or kadhib is to say something about, to inform about something in contradiction to the reality.
وضد الكذب الصدق.
And the opposite of kadhib is truth.
إذا كان الكذب هو الإخبار خلاف الحقيقة.
And so if kadhib was to inform about something that is contrary to reality,
فالصدق هو الإخبار بما هو مطابق للحقيقة.
then therefore truth or sidq is to say something or inform about something that is corresponding and in accordance to the reality.
فإذا صار الكذب كبيرا
So if the lie was to become something that was great,
يقال عنه إفك.
it's said about it that it is a if.
ويقال عنه افتراء.
And it's also said about it this other word iftira or fabrication.
وفي زمن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
And in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
حصل إفك.
an ifk occurred.
يعني ماذا حصل إفك؟
What was this if?
يعني حصل كذب كبير.
It meaning there was a great lie occurred.
ما هو الإفك الذي حصل في زمن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم؟
What was this if that occurred in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
أن بعض المنافقين
That some of the hypocrites
اتهموا عائشة أم المؤمنين رضي الله عنها وزوجة النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام
accused Aisha to al-Mu'mineen radiyallahu anha and the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
اتهموها مع رجل بالزنا.
They accused her and a man of committing zina.
ماذا يسمى هذا الاتهام بالزنا؟
What is this accusation of zina called?
القذف.
It's called slander.
ما هو القذف؟ شرحناه في الدرس الماضي.
What is this qadf? We talked about it and explained it in the previous lesson.
هو اتهام الأنفس العفيفة بالزنا.
It's to accuse the chaste individuals with zina.
هؤلاء المنافقون
So these hypocrites,
افتروا على أم المؤمنين عائشة رضي الله عنها.
they fabricated in regards to Aisha al-Mu'mineen radiyallahu anha.
وجاءوا بإفك عظيم بكذب كبير.
And they came with an ifk or a great lie.
عندما قذفوا عائشة بأنها زانية والعياذ بالله.
When they slandered Aisha radiyallahu anha and said that she's zaniya wa ya'udhu billah.
هل هؤلاء الذين جاءوا بالإفك بهذا الكذب الكبير هم من خارج مجتمع النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام ولا من مجتمع النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام؟
These individuals who came with this ifk, and it is a big lie, were they outside of the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or were they part of the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
هل كانوا من اليهود
Meaning that were they from the Jews,
أو كانوا من كفار قريش
or from the kuffar of Quraysh,
أو كانوا من مجتمع النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام؟
or were they from the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
from the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
كانوا من مجتمع النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
He said they were from the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
فهؤلاء كان ظاهرهم الإسلام.
So these individuals, their apparent affair was Islam.
ليسوا من الكفار.
They weren't from the kuffar.
بل هم ظاهرهم من الإسلام من المسلمين.
Instead, their apparent affair was that they were from the Muslimin.
والإنسان إذا كان في باطنه كافرا.
And an individual, if he was inside of himself a kafir,
وفي ظاهره الإسلام.
and in his apparent affair on Islam,
قال عنه في الشرع منافق.
it said about him in the legislation that he is a munafiq.
وهؤلاء كانوا عصبة أي مجموعة جماعة من المنافقين في المدينة.
And these group, they were a group of hypocrites that were from Medina.
هم الذين جاءوا بهذا الكذب العظيم على زوجة النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام عائشة رضي الله عنها.
They were the ones who brought this great lie against Aisha, the wife of the Prophet radiallahu anhu.
رب العالمين يقول منكم.
Our Lord, he says, translation from you.
يعني ليسوا من الكفار ليسوا من خارج مجتمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بل هم من مجتمع النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
Meaning that they were not from the kuffar, they were not outside of the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It said they were from the community of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
وليس كل من تكلم على عائشة واتهمها بالفاحشة كان من المنافقين الكفار.
And not everybody who accused or talked about Aisha or accused Aisha were from the munafiqeen or the kuffar.
الذين في قلوبهم الكفر ويظهرون الإسلام.
The ones who had in their hearts kufr but would show Islam.
لكن هناك من المسلمين.
But they were from the Muslims.
من اغتر بكلام المنافقين.
Those who were misled by the kalam of the munafiqeen.
وصدق الخبر.
And they confirmed this information.
أو قال يحتمل أنه صحيح.
Or they said it's possible that it's true.
وآخر يعني يدور في المدينة ويتحدث يقول سمعتم إيش قيل عن عائشة أخذ ينشر الخبر.
And it started to spread in Medina, and it started to say they would talk and say, did you hear the affair? And this way the information spread.
وعرفنا في الدرس الماضي.
And we learned in the last lesson
أنه لا يجوز الإنسان يتهم الآخرين المسلمين العفيفين بالزنا.
that it's not permissible for an individual to accuse the others, the Muslims who are chaste with zina,
إلا أن يأتي بأربعة شهداء رجال.
unless they come with 4 male witnesses.
عدول ليسوا فساق.
Any just, they're not corrupt individuals.
وشاهدوا الزنا بأعينهم رجل يزني بامرأة.
And they witnessed and observed the zina with their own eyes, the man committing zina with the woman.
فإن لم يكن.
So if it's not the case,
عند أحدهم.
that one of them have
شهداء أربعة.
4 witnesses.
وعدول.
And that are just.
ورجال.
And are men.
ورأوا الزنا.
And they saw the zina.
فهؤلاء يستحقون كم عقوبة؟
So these individuals get how many penalties?
3 عقوبات.
3 penalties.
يجلد أحدهم الواحد منهم 80 جلدة بالصوت.
One of them is to get lashed 80 times with the whip.
ولا تقبل لأحدهم شهادة أبدا.
And it is not accepted from him a testimony ever.
وأولئك هم الفاسقون.
And these are the fasiqun.
فهؤلاء بعض الصحابة.
So these individuals, some of them were Sahaba.
أخطأ هذا الخطأ.
They made this mistake.
فاغتر بكلام المنافقين.
So they were misled by the statements of the hypocrites.
فأخذ يروج هذا الخبر بأن عائشة رضي الله عنها قد زنت.
So they started to spread this affair that Aisha was committed zina.
يقول الله عز وجل لا تحسبوه شرا لكم.
Allah Azza wa
لا
Jal.
تظن هذا الأمر هو شر كامل.
Allah Azza wa Jal says the translation of which, don't think that this is bad for you, meaning that don't think this situation is completely bad.
لكن صحيح أنها مصيبة كبيرة.
Yes, it's true that it is a great affliction.
لكن فيها فوائد.
But there are benefits therein.
ما هي الفوائد التي حصلت في ذلك الموقف؟
What are the benefits that happened at this at this affair?
رب العالمين يقول بل هو خير لكم. في خير.
Allah, Rabbul Alameen, he says that this is good for you, meaning that it has good in it.
ما هو الخير الذي حصل؟
What is the good that's in this?
كونه شر هذا واضح.
The fact that it's something that's evil is obvious.
ناس يتهمون زوجة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بالفاحشة هذا شر عظيم.
People accuse the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with indecency. This is a great evil.
لكن هذا الأمر حصل فيه من الخير.
But this affair had some good that was in it.
مثل ماذا؟
Example of it is what?
تبين للناس إلى يومنا هذا بأن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يعلم الغيب.
It's been clarified to the people until our present day that the Messenger sallallahu, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not know the unseen.
ولا يعلم الغيب إلا الله عز وجل.
And no one knows the unseen except Allah azza wa jal.
الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم ما يعلم هذا الذي يقال عن عائشة هو صدق ولا كذب.
The Prophet ﷺ did not know about this that was said about Aisha. Was it truth or falsehood?
لو كان يعلم الغيب
If he knew the unseen,
لعلم هذه الحقيقة.
he would have knew the reality.
لكن بقي 50 ليلة
Instead, he remained for 5 nights.
في حيرة من أمره.
Oh, 50, I said. He remained for 50 nights in confusion about his affair.
هل صحيح الذي قيل عنها أو ليس بصحيح؟
Is it true what was said about her or not correct or true?
إلى درجة أنه استشار بعض أصحابه في أمر عائشة هل يطلقها ولا يمسكها؟
Until the point reached that he took advice from some of his companions about Aisha. Should he divorce her or should he keep her?
من الخير الذي حصل
So from the good that happened,
ظهر أمر المنافقين
the affair of the hypocrites became apparent.
الذين يخفون في قلوبهم الكفر ويتظاهرون بالإسلام.
The ones who hid inside themselves kufr and made apparent Islam.
متى ظهروا على حقيقتهم؟
How was the affair apparent about their reality?
في حادثة وقصة الإفك.
And that it was done in the event and the story of the ifk.
وظهر هناك من هو صادق
And it became apparent there those who were truthful.
فحفظ لسانه
And so they preserved and guarded their tongues.
وأحسن الظن
And they had good thoughts.
وقال لا أقول في عائشة إلا خيرا.
And they said, I'm not going to say about Aisha except good.
وحصل للمؤمنين
And the mu'mineen that occurred for them,
لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم
the ones in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
ولعائشة رضي الله عنها
and in Aisha radiallahu anha,
ولوالديها
and in her parents,
حصل لهم ماذا؟
it happened for them what?
الصبر فحصلوا على ذاك أجرا عظيما.
And they obtained some patience, so they got by way of it a great reward.
وغير ذلك من الفوائد والمنافع الخير الذي حصل في هذه القصة.
And other than that, from the fawaid, the benefits and the good qualities that were good from the story of Aisha.
فعائشة ابتليت بلاء عظيما.
So Aisha was tried a great trial.
فرفع الله قدرها.
So Allah raised her stature.
وأنزل قرآنا في هذه سورة النور.
And He sent down Quran in this surah, Surah an-Noor,
يدل على براءتها.
that proves her, the fact that she was free of that which they said.
وأنها طيبة.
And that she was good.
تصلح زوجة لطيب لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
That she's a suitable spouse for that which is good, also the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
فهي زوجته في الدنيا وفي الآخرة في الجنة.
So she is his spouse in the dunya and likewise in the akhirah and Jannah.
ووقع من وقع في هذه الفتنة.
And those who fell into this fitna
إلى يومنا هذا الرافضة.
until our day from the Rafidah,
يتهمون عائشة.
they still accuse Aisha.
والرافضة وغير الرافضة.
And the Rafidah and other than the Rafidah,
أيضا خلقهم الله للابتلاء.
Allah created them to try them.
الله يقول الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم جميعا.
Allah Ta'ala says, the translation of which, the one who created death and life to try you, and all of you,
ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا.
to try you which of you is better in action.
فما زال الله عز وجل يبتلي الناس.
So Allah has not ceased to try the people
في قصة وموضوع عائشة رضي الله عنها.
by way of the story and the affair of Aisha radiallahu anha.
بين الله عز وجل هنا فقال
Allah clarified it here, and He said,
لكل امرئ منهم أي لكل إنسان منهم.
the translation of which to every individual from him, meaning from every human from them,
ما اكتسب من الإثم بسبب خوضه وكلامه بهذا الموضوع.
is what he earned from the sin, i.e. because of what his statements was and that which he entered into this affair with it.
والذي تولى كبره يعني الذي تكفل وتزعم هذا الموضوع نشر هذا الخبر.
And the one who led this affair, meaning the one who took the responsibility on and started to spread this affair,
له عذاب عظيم.
to him is a great punishment.
وهذا كان رأس المنافقين.
And this was the head of the hypocrites.
اسمه عبد الله ابن أبي ابن سلول.
His name was Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul.
هذا رأس المنافقين.
He was the head of the hypocrites.
اسمه ماذا؟
His name was what?
عبد الله ابن أبي ابن سلول.
Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul.
هذا يختلف عن عبد الله ابن سبأ.
He is different than Abdullah ibn Saba.
عبد الله بن سبأ أيضا هذا رأس كبير بالكفر.
Abdullah ibn Saba was also another head of kufr.
هو الذي أسس دين الرافضة.
He was the one who founded the religion of the Rafidah.
هذا خرج بعد النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
He came after the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
أما رأس المنافقين في المدينة
As far as the head of the hypocrites in Medina,
اسمه عبد الله ابن أبي ابن سلول.
then his name is Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul.
كثير من الناس يخلط بين الاثنين.
A lot of people confuse between the two.
اسمائهم كما ترون الاسم الأول متطابق عبد الله عبد الله.
So their names, as you see, their first names are the same, Abdullah and Abdullah.
لكن المنافق ما اسمه؟
But the hypocrite, his name was what?
ابن أبي ابن سلول.
The son of Ubay, the son of Salul.
واليهودي ذاك الذي أسس دين الرافضة اسمه عبد الله ابن.
And that Jew, the one who founded the religion of the Rafida, his name was Abdullah, the son of
سبأ ابن سبأ.
The son of Saba.
هذا توعده الله بعذاب عظيم.
So this one Allah threatened him with a great punishment.
ثم يعاتب الله المؤمنين.
And then Allah chastises the mu'mineen.
فيقول لولا إذ سمعتموه.
And so he says, why then not when they heard it?
كان المفروض لما سمعتم هذا الخبر.
Meaning that which was suitable and necessary when you heard this affair.
ظن المؤمنون والمؤمنات بأنفسهم خيرا. يعني كان المفروض أن تحسنوا الظن.
The mu'mineen and the mu'minat thinking themselves good, meaning it was suitable that you should have thought good.
طيب. ظن المؤمنون والمؤمنات بأنفسهم. ما التهمة كانت موجهة إلى عائشة ليست إليهم هم.
And he says here that the mu'mineen and the mu'minat think about themselves good, but the accusation was towards Aisha, not to them.
ولكن الله عز وجل.
But Allah Azza wa Jal
أنزل عائشة بالنسبة للصحابة منزلة أنفسهم.
Placed Aisha in regards to the Sahaba as if she was their own self.
حتى أن بعض الصحابة.
Until the fact that some of the Sahaba,
أظن أبو أيوب رضي الله عنه أو غيره.
I'm pretty sure, I think it's Abu Ayyub radiallahu anhu or other than him.
قالت له أم أيوب زوجته.
Ayyub, she said to him, meaning his wife,
أسمعت ما قيل عن عائشة؟
have you heard what they said about Aisha?
فقال رضي الله عنه.
So he said radiallahu anhu,
سمعته.
I've heard it.
لكن لو كنت مكانها يعني أنت التي اتهمتي.
But if you were in her place, meaning that you were the one that was accused,
أكنت تفعلين ذلك؟
would you have done that?
هل تتوقعين أنت تقعين في الزنا أنت؟
Do you think that you would have committed zina? You.
قالت معاذ الله.
She said, I refuge from Allah.
فقال إن عائشة خيرا منك.
He said, verily Aisha is better than you.
إذا أنت تستبعدين أن تفعلين هذا الفعل.
So if you find it far-fetched that you do this action,
فكيف بعائشة رضي الله عنها؟
then how about Aisha radiallahu anha?
فرب العالمين يعاتب عباده من المؤمنين من الصحابة.
So Rabb al-Alameen, he's chastising his servants from the Sahaba.
يقول المفروض عندما سمعتم هذا الخبر.
He said that which was necessary when you heard this affair,
تحسنون الظن.
that you think good,
وتجعلون عائشة بمنزلة أنفسكم.
and that you make Aisha like the same way that you would think about yourselves.
وقالوا هذا إفك مبين. كان المفروض من أول ما سمعتم تقولون هذا إفك مبين. إفك يعني كذب كبير. مبين يعني واضح بين.
And say that this is a great ifkun, a clear if, meaning that the first time you heard about it, you should have said that this is an if that is clear. Yani clear, mubin, meaning it's obvious and well seen.
لولا جاءوا عليه بأربعة شهداء كان المفروض أن تقولون المفروض هؤلاء بما أنهم اتهموا عائشة المفروض يأتون إيش بأربعة شهداء.
He said, why didn't they bring forward witness, meaning that which was necessary when these people said these statements, that which was necessary when it said, why didn't they bring these people should have brought forward witnesses?
لأن هذا حكم الله.
Because this is the ruling of Allah.
الذي يتهم أحدا بالزنا.
That somebody who accuses the other of zina,
مطالب بماذا؟
he is requested with what?
أن يحضر أربعة شهداء.
That he make present 4 shuhada,
رجال.
that are men,
عدول.
that are just,
قد شاهدوا الزنا.
that they observe the zina.
بعد ذلك يتكلمون.
After that they can speak.
لكن أنتم يا مجتمع الصحابة.
But you, O gathering or group of Sahaba,
قد رأيتم هذا الذي يروج الخبر.
you've seen these individuals spreading this affair.
ما عنده شهداء.
They didn't have any witnesses.
وإنما الموضوع كله.
And instead the topic, all of it, or the affair, all of it,
أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مع بعض أصحابه كانوا في سفر.
that the Prophet ﷺ was with some of his companions on a trip.
وكانت معهم في السفر عائشة رضي الله عنها.
And on this trip, Aisha radiallahu anha was with them.
فذهبت لقضاء حاجتها.
And so she went to use the restroom.
ففقدت عقدا لها.
And so she lost the necklace that she had.
فرجعت تبحث عنه.
So she went back to look for it.
وإلا القافلة الجيش قد انصرف وتركها.
And the army, the party of the army had went off and then went left her.
وهي كانت في الهودج والهودج عبارة الخيمة الصغيرة التي توضع على ظهر الجمل وتركب المرأة داخلها ويسير فيها الجمل.
And she was in the howdaj, which is a phrase used to express a small tent that's put on the back of the camel that the person will be in it and it will ride with them in it.
وكانت ضعيفة وخفيفة.
And she was weak and small.
هي كانت جارية فتاة صغيرة.
She was a young girl.
فظنوا أنها داخل الهودج.
So they thought that she was inside of this howdaj.
فأثاروا البعير قام وانطلق الجيش كله ويظنون عائشة أين؟ داخل الهودج.
And so they made the camel stand up and the jaysh, all of them left, and they thought that Aisha was where? Inside the hodaj.
هي بما أنها تريد أن تقضي حاجة.
And so since she had wanted to go out and use the restroom,
طبعا طبيعي أنها تبتعد بعيد حتى تقضي حاجتها.
and the nature is that when she goes far away when she goes to use the restroom,
حتى لا يراها الناس.
and so the people can't see her.
فلما راحت بعيدة لقضاء حاجتها وسقط عقدها.
And so when she went far away to use the restroom and her necklace fell,
ورجعت ما وجدته.
and she came back and couldn't find it,
توقعت أنه سقط منها في الطريق أو في المكان التي قضت فيه الحاجة.
she thought that it fell off of her on the path or in the place that she used the restroom in.
راحت بعيدة.
So she went back far away.
في هذه اللحظة انطلقت القافلة الجيش كله سار إلى المدينة.
And at this moment the party or the army went out and all of them left without.
رجعت ما وجدتهم.
She came back and didn't find them.
جلست في مكانها.
She sat in her place.
كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
The Prophet ﷺ
يضع رجلا في آخر الجيش
used to put a person at the back of the army.
اسمه صفوان.
His name was Safwan.
هذا كان ينام طويلا.
He used to sleep a lot.
يكلفه النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام بعدما ينصرف الجيش.
The Prophet gave him the responsibility that after the army left,
ويستيقظ هو من النوم.
and he would wake up from his sleep.
ينظر في الأمور لعل الجيش سقط منه شيء أو نسي شيئا.
He would look in the situation and maybe the army dropped something or they left something.
قدر الله لما هذا استيقظ من نومه.
So Allah decreed that when this individual woke up from his sleep,
وجد أن الجيش قد انصرف عن عائشة والذي نسوه ماذا نسوا عائشة رضي الله عنها.
and he found that the army had left without who? Without Aisha, and the thing that they had left behind was who? Was none other than Aisha.
كان الحجاب قبل ذلك لم يفرض.
And the hijab before this time was not a command.
هو عرفها أن عائشة زوجة النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And so he recognized that she was Aisha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
ما تكلم ولا بكلمة.
She didn't say anything, not a word.
سوى أنه استرجع قال إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.
I'm sorry, he didn't say anything, not a word, except that he did this istirja where he said inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
فأناخ بعيره عنده بعير يعني أجلسه.
So he made his camel sit down next to her.
وصعدت عائشة على البعير رضي الله عنها وانصرفوا إلى المدينة.
And so Aisha ascended on the camel there, and then they went towards Medina.
فلما دخلوا المدينة طبعا الجيش وصل قبلهم لأن سار قبلهم.
So when they entered into Medina, and of course the army had arrived before them because they left before them,
رأى بعض المنافقين
some of the hypocrites saw
هذا الرجل
this man
ماسك بالبعير
holding on to the camel.
يسير فيه
He's leading it,
وعلى ظهر البعير عائشة.
and on the back of the camel is Aisha.
قالوا ما سلمت منه ولا سلم منها أكيد فعلوا الفاحشة أكيد.
They said, oh, it's definite that he wasn't safe from her and she wasn't safe from him. Indeed, they've done something that was indecent. Indeed, they've done something.
هذا كله ما حصل.
All of this is what occurred.
ما حصل شيء غير ذلك.
Nothing else other than this occurred.
وإلا بهم يروجون بأن عائشة قد وقعت بالزنا مع هذا الرجل.
Instead, all there was is that they were spreading in the fact that Aisha had done something with this man.
صار في المدينة أمر فظيع كبير في تناول هذا الخبر.
And it happened in Medina, a great exposing or a great bad affair from the spreading of this information.
وابتلى الله المؤمنين.
And Allah tested the mu'mineen.
وظهر المنافقون.
And He made apparent the munafiqun.
وأخطأ من أخطأ من الصحابة.
And those who made the mistake from the Sahaba made that mistake.
وأكثرهم حفظ لسانه والحمد لله.
And the majority of them guarded their tongue, walhamdulillah.
وابتلي النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And the Prophet was put through a trial.
وابتليت عائشة رضي الله عنها.
And likewise Aisha was put through a trial.
وابتلي والداها.
And likewise her parents were put through a trial.
قصة الإفك في صحيح البخاري.
And the story of the ifk can be found in Sahih Bukhari.
قصة طويلة.
A long story.
فيها فوائد كثيرة.
There are a lot of benefits therein.
رب العالمين يقول.
The Lord of the Alameen, He says,
معاتبا عباد المؤمنين.
chastising His servants that are from the mu'mineen.
كان المفروض لما سمعتم الخبر.
That which was necessary when you heard this information.
تحسنون الظن.
That you think good.
وتقول هذا الذي روج هذا الخبر.
And you say that those who are spreading this information.
حكم الله فيه معلوم.
The judgment of Allah about them is well known.
مطالب بأن يحضر كم.
They are requested to bring about how many?
4 شهداء.
4 witnesses.
رجال.
Men.
عدول.
Just.
ويقول أنهم فعلا رأوا فلانا يزني بفلان.
And they say they have definitely and actually saw such and so committing zina with such and such.
فإن لم يأتوا بالشهداء ما عنده شهداء يأتوا بهم.
So if they didn't bring these shuhada, meaning they didn't have any witnesses to produce,
فأولئك عند الله هم الكاذبون.
then these with Allah are the liars.
يعني القاذفون كذبا لعائشة والرجل الذي كان معها.
Meaning these are the ones who are slandering Aisha out of lie, and likewise the man that was with her.
يقول الله عز وجل ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته في الدنيا والآخرة لمسكم فيما أفضتم فيه عذاب عظيم، يعني لأصابكم عذاب عظيم بسبب هذه التهمة التي روجتموها، لكن الله عز وجل من رحمته وفضل العباد ما أوقع عليهم عقوبة، وإلا الشيء فعلوه عظيما.
And so he mentions the ayah, and then he says it had it not been for the fadl or the virtue of Allah, it would have affected you there because of it, a great punishment for that which you said and spread from this affair.
فإن قال قائل
So if a sayer was to say,
طيب لماذا يمس المدينة كلها عذاب مع أن الذين قاموا بهذا هم فئة منهم من الناس؟
why would it affect all of Medina a punishment, even though the ones who actually did it was just a group of the people?
نعم رب العالمين يقول في كتابه واتقوا فتنة لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة.
We say yes, Rabbul Alameen, he says in his book, the translation of which is fear of fitna, that doesn't just affect those who ظلموا, يعني who are يعني did dhulm from amongst you specifically.
هذا ممكن
This is possible.
أن يقع الظلم من بعض الناس
That this dhulm can occur from some people,
فيأتي العذاب على كثير من الناس.
and the punishment will come on the majority of the people.
لكن الله عز من رحمته
But Allah Azza wa Jalla, from His mercy,
تفضل على عباده
was generous and bountiful to His servants.
فلم يمسهم وينزل عليهم عذابا.
So He didn't touch them or send down upon them a punishment.
يصف الله عز الحال التي مر بها بعض الناس.
So Allah is describing the condition that some of the people were in.
فيقول إذ تلقونه بألسنتكم، يعني تلقون الخبر وتتناقلوه ما بينكم، ناس تتكلم وناس تسمع ويزيد الخبر ويروج الخبر.
And so He said, when you were receiving or getting this information, meaning that the people were transmitting it between themselves and they were spreading it and propagating it.
وتقولون بأفواهكم ما ليس لكم بعلم، تقولون تتكلمون ما عندكم علم، لأن العلم أين يأتي؟ لازم يكون إيش فيه؟ 4 شهداء، ما في شهداء، يعني ما عندكم علم، ما عندكم دليل على أنها فعلا زنت، فكيف تتناقلون هذا الخبر؟
And He said, you said with your mouth that which you have no knowledge with. And the fact that they have no knowledge here is because of why? Because to have knowledge about this, they need how many? 4 witnesses. There's no 4 witnesses here, so they didn't have the right to say this information because they didn't have any knowledge about this information.
وتحسبونه هينا، تحسبون هذا الفعل وهذا التصرف ترويج هذا الخبر ونشره للمجتمع، تظنونه أمر هين، أمر سهل، بينما في الواقع أنه عند الله عظيم.
And then He says, you thought it was something that is light, meaning you thought that the spreading and the propagating of this affair and transmitting it amongst yourself, you thought that this was something that was light and not easy, or something that was easy and not heavy, but it was with Allah something that was great.
لا يجوز اتهام وقذف أي امرأة مسلمة.
It's not permissible to accuse or slander any Muslim woman.
لكن هل اتهام عائشة بالذات زوجة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أعظم ذنبا؟
But the accusations against the Aisha, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ specifically, is this greater than accusing any other Muslim woman?
أو أن اتهامها كاتهام أي مسلمة أخرى؟
Or is the accusations against her the same as the accusations against any other woman?
Same. لماذا؟
Why?
لأن الطعن بعائشة طعن بالنبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
Because the accusations against Aisha are accusations against the Prophet ﷺ.
والطعن بعائشة طعن بالله عز وجل.
And the accusations against Aisha are also accusations against Allah Azza wa Jal.
كيف الله عز وجل يختار لنبيه امرأة ساقطة؟
How could Allah Azza wa Jal choose for His Prophet a woman who had bad qualities or bad values?
وكيف يقبل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن تكون له زوجة ساقطة؟
And likewise, how could the Prophet ﷺ choose for himself a wife that would have bad values?
فأعداء الإسلام والمسلمين
So the enemies of Islam and the Muslims,
أرادوا أن يبطلوا الإسلام ويقضوا عليه
they wanted to falsify Islam and end it
من هذا الباب.
from this aspect.
الطعن ببيت النبوة.
To accuse and slander the house of the Prophet.
إذا كان نبي المسلمين
If the fact that the Prophet of the Muslims
رسول رب العالمين
and the messenger of the Lord of the Alameen,
الذي رسول الله بالإسلام
the one that Allah sent with Islam,
زوجته هذا مستواها.
his wife, this was her level.
إذن هذا الدين لا يصلح.
Therefore, then this religion is not suitable.
هذا هو قصدهم بذلك.
This is what they intended with this.
لذلك قذف أزواج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كفر بالله العظيم.
And for that reason, to slander the wives of the prophets is kufr billahi rabbil alameen.
ليس فقط معصية كقذف أي مسلمة أخرى.
It's not just a simple disobedience like it would be if they were to slander any other Muslim woman.
لأن في ذلك اعتداء على النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
Because and this is a transgression against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
واعتداء على الإسلام.
And likewise a transgression against Islam.
بل واعتداء على رب العالمين.
And even more than that, it's a transgression against the Lord of the Alamin.
لذا يقول الله وتحسبون هينا وهو عند الله عظيم.
And for that reason, Allah Azza wa Jalla, He said you thought it was something that was light, but it's something that with Allah is great.
لولا إذ سمعتموهم قلتم ما يكون لنا أن نتكلم بهذا. كان المفروض عندما سمعتم يقول بعضكم البعض هذا الموضوع أبدا لا يجوز أن نتكلم به.
He says the
لا
translation.
يحق لنا نتكلم به.
And if the translation is, why will not when you heard it that you said it's not for us to say this? Meaning that when you all heard this, you said no, we can never say anything like this. We don't have any rights to say anything like this.
هذا سبحانك نزه الله عز وجل. سبحانك ما مناسبة تنزيه الله في هذا الموضوع.
And so he says this, and then they glorified Allah and said Subhanak, and they glorify and free Allah from any deficiencies. What's the aspect of freeing Allah from deficiencies here?
سبحان الله الله عز وجل ما يرضى أن يرسل رسولا له زوجة ساقطة.
And subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jalla is not pleased that He give His messenger a wife that has bad values.
ولا يرضى الله لنبيه زوجة ساقطة.
And Allah is not pleased for His prophet that he have a wife with bad values.
بل الواجب على المسلم أن يؤمن.
Instead, that which is obligatory on the mu'min that on the Muslim is that he has iman in the fact
بأن الله لن يختار نبيه إلا خير نساء العالمين.
that Allah will not choose for His messenger except the best of the women of the universe.
قال أعداء الإسلام.
The enemies of Islam say,
لكن زوجة نوح
but the wife of Noah
عليه السلام
alayhi salam,
وزوجة لوط
and likewise the wife of Lut
عليه السلام
alayhi salam,
كانتا خائنتين.
they were both two wives who betrayed or betrayed their trust.
فما المشكلة
So what's the problem here?
أن تكون زوجة نبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم عائشة أيضا خائنة.
That the prophet, that Aisha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would also be someone who betrayed the trust.
هذا الآية التي استدلوا بها
These ayah that they try to use as evidence,
هي عليهم ليست لهم. هي دليل عليهم ليست لهم.
it's an evidence against them and not for them.
كيف ذلك؟
How is that?
لما خانت كل من زوجة نوح وزوجة لوط عليهما السلام
When each of them, the wife of Nuh and the wife of Lut alayhim as-salam, didn't carry out the trust,
هل بين الله ذلك أو لم يبينه؟
did Allah clarify that or did He not clarify it?
بينه.
He clarified it.
فلو كانت عائشة رضي الله عنها خائنة
So if Aisha likewise was someone that betrayed the trust,
لبين الله أمرها
Allah would have clarified her affair,
كما بين أمر زوجة نوح وزوجة لوط.
just as He clarified the affair of the wife of Nuh and the wife of Lut.
لكن الأمر على عكس ذلك.
But the situation is opposite to that.
الله عز وجل أثنى عليها
Allah Azza wa Jalla praised her,
وأنزل براءتها
and He sent down her freedom of these things,
ورضي عنها
and He had pleasure upon her,
واختارها زوجة لنبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في الدنيا وفي الآخرة.
and He chose her as a spouse for our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the dunya and the akhirah,
حتى آخر لحظة من حياة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
until the fact that the last moments of the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
وآخر أنفاسه وحركة قلبه آخر لحظة في حياته
and his last breath and his last moment and the last beat of his heart,
توفي عليه الصلاة والسلام
he passed away sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
ورأسه على نحر عائشة.
and his head was resting on the nahar of Aisha.
فلو كانت خائنة
So if she was someone who betrayed the trust,
هل يبقيها الله زوجة لنبيه؟
would Allah leave her to continue to be the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
بينما زوجة نوح
While at the time that the wife of Nuh
وزوجة لوط
and the wife of Lut,
أهلكهم الله في الدنيا
Allah destroyed them in the dunya.
غير عذاب الآخرة أيضا.
And this is not considering the punishment in the hereafter that they'll get also.
فالآية تدل على ماذا؟
So the ayah there then proves what?
على أن لو كانت عائشة خائنة
That the fact that if Aisha was someone who betrayed the trust,
كزوجتين أو كزوجة نوح وزوجة لوط عليهما السلام
like the wife of Nuh and the wife of Lut alayhim as-salam,
لبين الله أمرهما.
Allah would have clarified her affair.
ثم زوجة نوح وزوجة لوط ما كانتا زانيتين.
And then also the wife of Nuh and the wife of Lut, they weren't people who committed zina.
لكنهما كانتا كافرتين.
Instead, they were two kafirs.
اقرأوا الآية.
Read the ayah.
ضرب الله مثلا
The translation is Allah sets an example
للذين كفروا
for those who commit kufr,
امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط.
the wife of the woman of Nuh and the woman of Lut.
لم يقل الله عز وجل
Allah Azza wa Jalla didn't say,
ضرب الله مثلا
Allah sets an example
للاتي زنينا
to to the two that committed zina,
أو للذين زنوا
or to those who committed zina,
امرأة نوح امرأة لوط.
the woman, those who committed zina, the wife of Noor and the wife of Lut.
فالخيانة التي وقعتا فيه
So this betraying of the trust that the two of them fell into,
من هما؟
who are they?
امرأة نوح امرأة لوط عليهما السلام.
The woman, the wife of Noor and the wife of Lut alayhim as-salam.
هي خيانة الكفر لا خيانة الزنا.
This was the betraying the trust with disbelief, not betraying it with zina.
إذا نعود ونقول
And so therefore we'll go back and say
إن الطعن بعائشة رضي الله عنها
the accusation or slandering against Aisha radiallahu anha,
أم المؤمنين
the mother of the mu'mineen,
هو طعن بالنبي عليه الصلاة
it's an
والسلام
accusation against the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam,
وطعن بالإسلام
and likewise an accusation against Islam,
بل وطعن بمن؟
and also an accusation against who?
بالله رب العالمين.
Against Allah Rabbil Alameen.
لذلك الله يقول كان المفروض تقول سبحانك هذا بهتان عظيم. بهتان يعني كذب كبير.
لذلك Rabbil Alameen, he says that that which was necessary was that which you should have said was subhanak, and glorified be you. This is a buhtan, meaning a great lie that is clear and obvious.
يعظكم الله أن تعودوا لمثله أبدا. يوعظكم موعظة أن ترجعوا وتتهموا عائشة أو غيرها من أمهات المؤمنين بهذه التهمة بالفاحشة.
He says Allah warns you that you go back to this, meaning He gives you an admonition that you go back to these type of accusations against Aisha or other than her from the believers ever again.
إن كنتم مؤمنين إن كان فيكم إيمان فلا تعود إلى اتهام عائشة رضي الله عنها.
If you were from the mu'mineen, meaning if there is found inside of you iman, then don't go back to accusing Aisha radiallahu anha.
وقوله إن كنتم مؤمنين
And his statement, if you all were mu'mineen,
دليل على أن الذي يعود ويتهم عائشة ويصر على أنها فعلا زانية هو ليس من المؤمنين.
is the evidence that those who go back and accuse Aisha about this action and continue upon that are not from the mu'mineen.
ويبين الله لكم آياته الآيات الشرعية التي فيها الأحكام.
And Allah clarifies for you His ayat, His ayat that are legislated, i.e. the ayat al-Shari'ah, which are the judgments and the rules.
والله عليم أي يعلم كل شيء.
And Allah is alim, and He knows everything.
حكيم.
Hakim.
ما معنى حكيم؟
What is the meaning of Hakim?
يعني ذو حكمة.
Meaning the one who has hikmah.
يضع الأمور في مكانها المناسب.
He puts things in their proper place.
وحكمته جل وعلا
And His wisdom Jalla wa ala
في خلقه أو في شرعه.
is in His creation or in the things He legislated.
في خلقه وفي شرعه.
In His creation and in the things He legislated.
وحكيم ذو حكم.
And likewise Hakim, and He has the hukm or the judgment.
يحكم في خلقه.
He judges His creation
أو يحكم في شرعه.
or He judges with the things that He legislates.
What was the question?
What's the question, huh? Obviously. Allah al-Hakim ذو حكم.
Allah is Hakim, and He's the one that has hukm or judgment.
يحكم في خلقه.
Does He judge in His creation
أو يحكم في شرعه.
or does He judge in regards to what He's legislated?
Oh, say both.
في هذا وهذا. نعم في هذا وهذا. والله تعالى أعلم.
And Allah knows best.
الحمد لله أول وآخر صلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
الحمد لله, الأول والآخر, وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.